Oh, hey, you mind helping me out? Seems I've gotten myself trapped again. If you could just, yeah, the scissors. Thanks. Christmas is a time for happiness, family, and giving, which is quite a problem considering creeps like this just want to take your life. This is what makes Christmas such an incredible setting for horror games, though. If you grew up celebrating Christmas, its values are hard-coded into you, which means there's so much opportunity to do the opposite. Kindness and happiness are swapped for evil and fear. Family and giving are swapped with loneliness and taking of lives. Remember I said that? The bigger the difference between what your brain is expecting and what's reality, the bigger the effect it'll have on how you feel. I picked up 5 horror games set during Christmas to see if this setting is used more as a whipped cream or the fresh hot pie itself. I know, 5 is not a huge sample size, but it is way too close to Christmas to be buying 17 games. What the hell? I thought I heard a little girl calling for help. Must have been the wind. That's one example of subverting your expectations. It plays directly into reality not being what was expected. But Christmas as a setting in a horror game has more chances to use subversion than Santa has coal. See? I just did it again. You thought I was going to say presents. For a horror game to really weaponize Christmas, it needs to do 3 things. Symbols of joy and happiness need to be used as tools of fear. The players should be placed in a scenario that makes us feel somewhat alone and helpless. We really need something sinister robbing us of our safety. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Good evening. I'm standing here live where a presumed axe-wielding maniac dressed as Santa has been oofed. Authorities say a young mother was on her way home from getting that bread when she ran into said Santa in the subway tunnels earlier today. I personally thought that the mutilated bodies would have been enough to make her turn back, but apparently that was not the case. I was told that the young mother was not able to leave the desired door in the subway station because it was jammed, which we can assume was the work of the now expired Santa. The victim states that she was chased through the subway station after finding a crowbar that would allow her to open that jammed door. But it didn't stop there. She was chased again when she was forced to find an axe to break through a fence. Unfortunately, once she made it home, she saw that she was evicted days before she was supposed to be. Unbelievable. That was when the young lady decided to flee on the train tracks, but was confronted by the Christmas killer once more. The victim was able to find a firearm and, well, you can see what happened. I don't need to tell you. Back to you, Justin, watching the TV. Interesting. If we look at the wildly convenient news broadcast of that game that I played, we can see how the game Sleigh Bells holds up to those 3 factors that I mentioned earlier. Outside of Slim Santa himself, there's really no other usage of traditional symbols of Christmas joy. For an example, decorations, candy canes, an insane talking tree, but we'll get to see that later. So I can't really say it meets number 1. I do have to admit, being locked in a subway station with Slim Santa does, in fact, make you feel alone and helpless. But once you're out of the station, that lack of confinement really gives you a sense of relief. So I can't give it full credit for number 2 either. I will say it does a very good job with number 3 though. If Killer Santa is not sinister, I don't know what is. Game 2. The holiday story. We find ourselves returning home from a work trip, but without a gift for our son. Stopping at this sketchy store in the middle of nowhere is not ideal, but our son really wants a construction set for Christmas. Right off the bat, the vibes are at a 100%. The neon signs and the colorful tree, it's just... The store owner is an interesting fella, to say the least. The freak decides he's going to add new underwear to our Christmas list. Long story short, we have to go looking for the guy. That is when the freaky shit really starts to happen. Eventually, we make our way to the warehouse to check on this guy. So the guy got drug underneath a storage rack. And when we find him again, it appears that he's being eaten by a toy. The toy then chooses to make us a statistic, and we have no option but to survive until help arrives. This freak-ass toy is quick as and keeps blocking walkways. But once help gets there, the owner returns. Get a load of this guy. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. While Christmas is the reason we find ourselves in the store, I can't say it does much more than that than just making everything look nice. There is a feeling of being alone, but not so much helpless. The threat of the toy really never felt impossible to overcome. The toy technically was sinister, but I didn't really feel in danger. Okay, I don't have much time. This one's not like the others so far. This one completely flips the script because you are the killer. I hope he made it out okay. But I can only assume he was talking about the game Christmas Massacre. In this game, like the first one, there's a crazy Kris Kringle, but this time it's you. You're the crazy one, which feels pretty relatable. After committing your first act of insanity in your orphanage as a child, you jump forward in time to adulthood with one of those freaky Christmas tree faces that were real popular in the 90s and early 2000s. This tree tells you that you need to kill, and make all the bad people pay. So that's exactly what you do. You make people pay for being naughty. Obviously, being the killer that's doing the stalking, you don't ever feel helpless or fearful, except for when you're trapped in here. Despite the lack of helplessness, this game succeeds in a way that is way different than others. Not only are symbols of joy and happiness used with music to get you into the merry mood, it flips everything about traditional Christmas horror on its head by making you violate the vibes. Although you're never scared, you most likely will feel bad for the people who probably didn't do anything to deserve what they got. On top of that, you aren't just a lone psychopath. Being an outcast in the orphanage is what triggered the violent acts. As the sinister threat that robs others of their safety, this becomes a gut-wrenching psychological horror instead of the underwear ruining one. Hell no, I gotta get the fuck out of here. See you later, mother. Now see, I know I'm not crazy. I definitely heard a kid crying for help, but what if it's just a trap? I can't leave without checking the basement.
Tattletail, go home.
Holy shit, is that a Furby? Alright, you're coming with me. This Furby reminds me of a game called Tattletail. Tattletail is by far my favorite Christmas horror game. It absolutely knocks every one of those three factors way out of the park. I refuse to believe that you never snooped for your gifts before Christmas as a kid. I for damn sure don't believe that you never snuck down Christmas morning before everyone else woke up to peek and shake your gifts. Tattletail takes this childhood tradition and completely warps it into fuel for fear. You wake up early on December 20th and sneak into the basement to open your gift from your heavy sleeper mother. It's a Furby. It's Tattletail, which is great because Furbies were so cool but freaky as shit. Just be letting out a sinister laugh in the middle of the night. You never could have convinced child me that that was not the work of Satan himself. The next morning, your Tattletail somehow got itself into the dryer. Before wrapping it back in its packaging, all the lights go out, including your flashlight. No big deal, just shake the flashlight back on, right? Wrong. Before you even get a chance to do that, these soul-piercing red eyes stare at you in the dark. Nonetheless, you make it back to bed without waking up your mom for some reason. On morning 3, you go to see why your toy is making this weird noise. Except it's not your Tattletail, it's Mama. Through a cassette tape, Mama warned you that playing with her kids will get you wrapped up faster than Santa's hottest toy in the workshop.
But Mama could still hear the children. The pitter-patter of their little feet led Mama right to them. And the children, every last one, and put them right back to bed.
After putting Tattletail back in its box that same morning, you gotta go clean up the mess that it made. At which point, Mama begins to stalk you in the dark. She cuts off your flashlight so you can't see. Don't you dare make any noise because she's coming for you.
Mama will look after you.
The next morning, you're Your Tattletail is definitely alive because it's out in the garage with another one that you've never seen before. They want to play hide and seek with you, while Mama, she wants to play seek and kill. Oh, don't worry, her kids are fine, but you're not. No. No. If I hadn't made it clear, she wants to kill you. Fortunately, you make it through the morning. On Christmas Eve, if you had any doubts that your Tattletail was alive, well, here it is. In your room, waking you up to get ready for a party. This is probably not the kind of party you were expecting. It's a seance. Turns out, you and the Tattletails have something in common. They want Mama gone too, but Mama isn't gonna let you do that so easily. For full transparency, I turned the game off at this point, and when I came back later, I accidentally deleted my save file. However, based off of everything I had done up to that point, Tattletail is a great Christmas horror experience. I'm not sure there's any childhood tradition better than sneaking a peek at your gifts. More so on Christmas morning, but this game weaponizes that moment of Christmas joy so well. It uses that opportunity to make sure you're all alone in a dark house. Even if you try to wake Mama up while Tattletail's Mama is hunting you, Mom does open the door, just not the one you want. While the game does only use a couple symbols of Christmas joy, it takes it a step further by hijacking a core childhood memory. As a child with a mom who can apparently sleep through anything, sounds like my wife. Huh? Nothing, dear. You are pretty defenseless against this ruthless, oversized Furby with teeth that are sharper than broken glass, leaving us, yes, alone and helpless with something sinister robbing us of our safety. We make such a great team. Don't get me wrong, a game doesn't have to be set in a childhood-like home, decorated for Christmas to be a good Christmas horror game. In fact, you've been in one this whole time. Spoiler warning for the new game, Death on Holly Ridge. So here's a couple seconds. If you plan on playing that, you can pause this and come back later. I was never actually in any danger, silly. I'd been taking you through pieces of this new game called Death on Holly Ridge. You play as a delivery driver who needs to make her last delivery of the night on Christmas Eve. However, Piggly Wiggly has other, likely horrible ideas for you. You do a bunch of puzzles to make your way through this house, not only to find a way out, but to try and save a little girl as well. If you choose to do so, I won't lie, I thought this was the trappiest of traps, and this was some demonic mental trick, and the girl's voice was actually a younger version of the lady that you play as, which the last part still could be true, because if you leave the house without the little girl, you get a different ending. If you leave the house with the little girl, it's revealed that you were never actually abducted. You'd crash your delivery truck into a tree, but you do show signs of life. If you leave the house without the girl, the paramedics find you and you're declared dead at the site of the crash. I gotta say, I'm a sucker for big philosophical twists in a game. This game honestly gets away with weaponizing minimal symbols of Christmas. Like the holiday story, working on Christmas Eve is the reason we find ourselves in the situations that we were in. However, the abduction alone makes the situation way more unsettling and terrifying. You have no idea why this thing took you, but you do know that it's not for a good reason. This setting intensifies the use of things like wrapping paper for body bags. It's way more unsettling than it would be in almost any other setting. The stocking stuffed with body parts made me feel sick. Even the reindeer jump scare got me. Plus, there were other more depressing themes that are an unfortunate reality in the holiday season. There are also things that stalk you in the house. I don't know about you, but all of that makes me feel pretty damn alone, helpless, and unsafe. To be clear, these were all fun games, and I recommend you try all of them if you can. Some of them just happen to weaponize Christmas more than others. It's like dating someone because they dress nice versus dating someone who is nice and also dresses nice. Both can be acceptable. It just depends on what you're looking for in the experience. Merry Christmas. I hope you got everything you wanted. If you got coal, well, maybe it's time for some self-reflection. It's okay. You're still welcome here. Come on. Bring it in. Drive safe. Bye.